Good morning. This is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com with the South Carolina College Baseball recap for Friday, March the 20th. Of course, the Winthrop-Sacramento State game went well after midnight. That's why I'm having to record it so late in the night. But let's go through what we had going on Friday in college baseball in the state. There were 22 games played, and we'll start out with the NCAA Division I games. Down in Conway, Trace Mason and Colby Thorndike had 3 hits apiece as number 16 Coastal Carolina run ruled James Madison by a score of 12-2 in 7 innings. They had a crowd of over 5,000. They said it was, I believe, the 5th largest regular season home crowd in Springsburg Stadium history. The Chanticleers are now 14-7 overall, 4-0 in the Sun Belt. They will play game 2 of that series tomorrow. Also for Coastal, Rex Watson had another home run. He also had a single, scored twice, and drove in 2 runs. Elsewhere, Mason Rising was 5 for 5 with 2 homers, 5 runs scored, and 5 RBI as Charleston Southern beat Gardner-Webb 16-5 in the opener of a Big South Conference series. The Buccaneers are now 15-6 overall, 1-0 in the Big South. Gardner-Webb fell to 12-10 and 2-2. For the Bucks, Lucas Pringle had a single, a homer, 2 walks, 3 runs scored, and 3 RBI. Also, Jack Riddell pitched a 4-hit complete game shutout as Notre Dame beat Clemson 6-0 in the opener of an ACC series. The Fighting Irish got a couple of home runs. They made some errors, but they did not hurt them, and beat Clemson by shutout. It's the 3rd straight season. The Tigers have lost 3 of their last 4 series opening games. They got shut out in the first game against South Carolina, shut out the first game against Georgia Tech last week, and then shut out today by Notre Dame. Clemson fell to 18-5 overall, 1-3 in the ACC. Notre Dame improved to 12-6 and 4-3. Tristan McClatty had a pair of hits for Clemson, which couldn't get much else going on. Also, number 4 Arkansas scored a crooked number in the first 6 innings and run ruled South Carolina 22-4. That is in 7 innings. If you're a Gamecocks fan and somebody told you to cheer up, things could be worse, and you cheered up, well, things were worse. Gamecocks, again, they gave up 6 home runs, 14 hits. They walked 12, hit 3 batters, and all in all, it was a pretty dismal performance by Carolina. Josh Gunther, who pitched so well for them in the starting role, got driven from the game early. Just really wasn't ever a competitive matchup. The Hogs, number 4 in the country, improved to 17-6 overall, 3-1 in the SEC. Carolina fell to 12-11 and 0-4. Gamecocks have lost 6 straight. KJ Scobie, Luke Uhas, and Jake Randolph hit 2-run homers for Carolina. Let's see. All right, elsewhere, Malloy Haganey doubled in 2 runs in the 9th inning, and USC Upstate pitchers allowed 1 earned run in the game in a 5-4 win over Longwood to open a Big South Conference series. Sorry about that. I'm having to scroll up and down to get done what I want to get done. The Spartans are now 12-11 overall, 3-1 in the Big South. Longwood fell to 15-7 and 1-3. Johnny Sweeney singled and homered for Upstate. Elsewhere, Xavier scored 2 runs in the 3rd inning and 6 in the 4th, and took game 1 of the series with Wofford up in Cincinnati by a score of 8-1. The Musketeers are now 7-16. Wofford fell to 14-9. For Wofford, Tanner Harden had a single, 2 walks, and a run scored. Terriers couldn't get much going all day. Out in Sacramento, Winthrop scored 6 runs in the 8th inning to break a 7-7 tie, but they had to withstand a late rally by Sacramento State to win 14-12 and even that 3-game series at 1 win apiece. The Eagles are now 15-7. Sacramento State fell to 9-14. 3 players had 3 RBI apiece for Winthrop. The Gabe Natividad, Josh Skoronsky, and Alan Benhart, and Luke Earnhardt allowed 2 earned runs in 5 innings of pitching for the Eagles. Also, Will Terrell's 2-run double gave UNC Wilmington all the runs it needed in their 2-1 win over College of Charleston to open that Coastal Athletic Association series. The Seahawks are 15-7 overall, 4-0 in the CAA. Charleston fell to 9-12 and 4-3. For the college, Carter Harrington went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs, struck out 6. He had a good start and really, could have gotten a better fate out of things. Down in Macon, Mercer continued its best start in school history with an 11-0 run rule win over the Citadel. The Bulldogs were no hit until the 7th inning, final inning, when Garrett Fulmer got his single. Citadel fell to 8-12 overall, 0-1 in the SoCon. Mercer is 19-3 and 1-0. And in the final game involving a Division I team in the state, Jace Kohler's 10th inning RBI single gave High Point a 6-5 win over Presbyterian in a Big South Conference game up at Willard Stadium in High Point. The Panthers are now 12-9 overall, 2-2 in the Big South. PC fell to 4-19 and 2-2. For the Hoes, Bo Moody was 4 for 5 with a double, a stolen base, and 2 runs scored. How about on other levels? In the Appalachian Athletic Conference, Travis Daniker pitched a 6-hit complete game as Spartanburg Methodist took the opener of a series up at Bluefield. The final score was 6-3. Dario Astudillo, had a double, a home run, and scored twice for the Pioneers. Upstate is now 14-13 overall, 7-6 in the AAC. Bluefield fell to 6-15 and 0-9. Elsewhere, Tennessee Western, which is ranked in the top 10 among NAIA schools this week, took the opener of a series at Columbia International by a score of 6-3. That stopped a 7-game winning streak by the Rams. Tennessee Wesleyan is now 23-8, 11-2 in the conference. Columbia International fell to 10-19 and 8-7. For CIU, Corbin Wright had a single, a homer, was hit by a pitch, and drove in 2 runs. In Conference Carolinas, Lane Magaha singled and homered twice to drive in 6 runs, and North Greenville racked up 19 hits to take the series opener at Southern Wesleyan by a score of 17-6. For the Trailblazers, they had 19 hits, as I said. They're now 23-6 overall, 12-4 in the conference. Southern Wesleyan fell to 9-20 and 4-12. Matty Brown was the winning pitcher for North Greenville. Went 6 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, and struck out 3. Also in Conference Carolinas, Charlie Bussey had a home run and 3 singles as Francis Marietta scored 5 runs to the 7th inning, 3 more in the 9th, and beat Emmanuel by a score of 10-4. The Patriots had trailed 4-2 for much of the game. Francis Marietta is now 23-6 overall, 13-3 in the Conference Carolinas. Emmanuel fell to 13-14 and 10-9. For the Patriots, Jimmy Koza was 2 for 5 with a stolen base, a run scored, and 2 RBI. In another Conference Carolinas game, Mount Olive scored 11 runs in the 7th inning and salted away a 20-5 win over Erskine in the first game of the series at Due West. The Trojans are now 12-12 overall, 7-9 in the conference. Erskine fell to 12-18 and 8-8. In the Peach Belt Conference, USC Aiken stole 15 bases, setting a school and Peach Belt Conference record, and went on to beat USC Beaufort, by the score of 14-8. The Pacers scored in the first 7 innings of that game. Aiken is now 28 overall, 9-4 in the Peach Belt. Beaufort fell to 5-22 and 0-16. Evan Kohler struck out 11 in 6 innings as Georgia Southwestern handed Claflin his 16th straight loss. The score was 10-2. In that game, Christian Hill had a single, a walk, a stolen base, and an RBI for the Panthers. The Georgia Southwestern is now 16-13 overall, 9-4 in the conference. Claflin fell to 3-18, 0-13, and has lost 16 straight games. Lander scored 2 runs in the 9th to force extra innings, but Columbus State won on a 12th inning sacrifice fly to open that Peach Belt Conference series. Bearcats fell to 16-12 overall, 10-6 in the conference. The Cougars of Columbus State are 15-9 and 9-4. For Lander, Oliver Zahn was 4 for 6 with a double, a homer, a stolen base, and 2 RBI. In South Atlantic Conference play, Miles Denton doubled at homer to drive in 4 runs, and Caleb Owens and Brady Williams combined on a 6-hit shutout as Anderson beat Emory and Henry in the opener of the conference series by a score of 9-0. Gray Wells was 2 for 5 with 2 RBI for the Trojans. Anderson is now 17-11 overall, 5-11 in the conference. They're unbeaten in non-conference games. Emory and Henry fell to 6-19 and 3-13. Lincoln Memorial pitched out of a bases-loaded situation in the bottom of the ninth to beat Newberry by a score of 4-3 to open that series at Smith Road Complex in Newberry. The Rail Splitters are now 18-10 overall, 11-5 in the conference. Newberry fell to 17-11 and 12-4. The Wolves had the bases loaded with 1 out and could not get the tying or go-ahead runs across. And the up in Hickory, Nathan Kidder's 9th inning RBI single kept Lenore Ryan's comeback for a 6-5 win over Coker in another South Atlantic Conference game. The Cobras had scored 4 runs early, had an early 4-run lead. Lenore Ryan is now 19-5-1 overall, 11-4-1 of the conference. Coker fell to 7-19 and 6-11. In the HBCU Athletic Conference, Darius Keaton singled, homered, stole 2 bases, and drove in 7 runs. And Voorhees got the rubber game of a series with Oakwood by a score of 13-8 down in Denmark. For the Tigers, who are now 4-16 and 3-7 in the conference, they had 10 hits, they drew 11 walks, and stole 12 bases. Oakwood fell to 2-18 and 1-8. How about some games outside the state of South Carolina? In the ACC, number 3 Georgia Tech beat Pitt 11-9. Number 9 Virginia beat number 24 Wake Forest 10-6. Number 10 NC State won at number 11 Florida State by a score of 6-4. Boston College beat California 4-3. Number 14 North Carolina run-ruled Louisville 11-1 in 8 innings. Virginia Tech beat Duke 7-1, and Miami beat Creighton, which is coached by former USC coach Mark Kingston, 9-4. In the SEC, Tyler Fay pitched a no-hitter and struck out 13 as Alabama beat number 18 Florida by a score of 6-0 to open that series. Number 2 Texas scored 2 runs in the top of the ninth, but Auburn scored 3 runs in the bottom of the inning for a walk-off win by a score of 4-3. That walk-off win came with the bases loaded, a single to center field. The center fielder tried to scoop the ball up, but it rolled under his glove, went all the way back toward the warning track, and 3 runs scored to give the Tigers a walk-off or maybe even a runoff win. Elsewhere, number 6 Mississippi State beat Vanderbilt 4-2. Number 7 Georgia beat number 23 Texas A&M 9-4. Number 7 Oklahoma evened its series with LSU, which is number 20, by a score of 4-2. Missouri beat number 22 Tennessee 8-4. And number 15 Kentucky evened its series at Ole Miss with a 3-1 win. Among Division1Baseball.com top 25 teams, Troy topped number 12 Southern Mississippi 6-5 in a Sun Belt Conference game. And in another Sun Belt Conference game, Texas State beat number 25 Louisiana 4-1. Elsewhere, also in the Sun Belt Conference, Marshall beat Georgia Southern in 14 innings, 17-16, kind of a wild game. In the Southern Conference, Sanford's Joseph Lee had Western Carolina to 1 single in an 11-0 run rule win. UNC Greensboro topped East Tennessee State 6-3. Flagler bumped off North Georgia in a Peach Belt Conference meeting 6-4. Catawba beat Wingate in the South Atlantic Conference 9-2. And in Conference Carolinas, Young Harris drubbed UNC Pembroke 16-3. Well, how about the schedule for Saturday? Let's take a look at it. Mount Olive is at Erskine for a doubleheader at noon. Payne is at Bob Jones for a doubleheader at noon. For some reason, they canceled their Friday game. Spartanburg Methodist is at Bluefield for a twin bill at noon. Clafton is at Georgia Southern for 2 at 1 o'clock. Coker and Lenore Ryan play a pair at 1 o'clock. Emory and Henry is at Anderson at 1 for a doubleheader. Francis Marion is at Emmanuel for a doubleheader at 1. Lincoln Memorial and Newberry play a doubleheader in Newberry at 1 o'clock. North Greenville and Southern Wesleyan play a pair at Dr. C. Keith Connor Field in Central. 1 o'clock start. Tennessee Wesleyan and Columbia International play a doubleheader at 1 in Columbia. USC Lancaster and is at first place Gaston College and Junior College Region 10 play doubleheader at 1 o'clock at Sims Legion Park in Gastonia. USC Sumter is at USC Salkehatchie for a doubleheader at 1. USC Union is at Florence Darlington Tech for a doubleheader at 1. Clemson and Notre Dame play game 2 of their series at 2 o'clock. A note to Tiger fans, neither the Saturday game nor the Sunday game will be video streamed. Gardner Webb is at Charleston Southern for a 2 o'clock game. James Madison and Coastal Carolina play game 2 at 2 o'clock. Landers at Columbus State at 2 o'clock. Lemoyne Owen opens a 3-game series at Benedict with a 2 o'clock game, part of a doubleheader. The Citadels at Mercer at 2 o'clock. UNC Wilmington is at College of Charleston at 2. USC Aiken is at USC Beaufort at 2. Wofford is at Xavier in game 2 of its series at 2. Johnson and Wales is at Morris at Riley Park and Sumter, doubleheader, first game's at 3 o'clock. USC Upstate is at Longwood at 3. Arkansas is at South Carolina at 4. I suspect there'll be plenty of tickets available for that if you need to get something, Gamecocks fans. Presbyterian is at High Point at 4. And Winthrop completes its series at Sacramento State with a 4 o'clock game. They moved it up from 5 o'clock for some reason. Anyway, that's the Friday school board and the Saturday schedule for South Carolina College baseball. You can always get updates during games on my X handle of Palmetto Base. Get scores, schedules, boxes, other information at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. Please email me at RudyJones@PalmettoStateBaseball.com or message me on X with things you'd like to see me try to cover about this. For now, this is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com saying, good morning, Jesus loves you.